We start with special counsel Jack Smith taking a sledgehammer to one of the most brazen arguments being raised by the ex-president in any of his multiple legal travails. Over the course of just 12 pages, prosecutors pick apart the argument that Trump was somehow unfairly charged in the classified documents case. They say that although there have been many government officials who have possessed classified documents after the ends of their terms in office, often inadvertently, sometimes negligently, and very occasionally willfully, there has never been a case in American history in which a former official has engaged in conduct remotely similar to Trump. He intentionally took possession of a vast trove of some of the nation's most sensitive documents so sensitive that they were presented to the president, and he stored them in unsecure locations at his heavily trafficked social club. But Trump did not stop there. The special counsel notes Trump, quote, delayed, obfuscated, and dissembled, committing crimes in order to stop the government from getting back its documents. Trump tried to get his attorney to lie to the Justice Department. Then Trump got his valet, Walt Nauta, to move the boxes so his attorney wouldn't find the classified documents. Then, when the FBI asked for surveillance footage that would show the boxes being moved, Trump and Nauta got Trump's other co-defendant, Carlos de Oliveira, to try to delete the video. All of this is why Trump's case is nothing like President Joe Biden's, who was not charged for his handling of classified documents. DOJ saying this, quote, Trump, unlike Biden, is alleged to have engaged in extensive and repeated efforts to obstruct justice and thwart the return of documents bearing classification markings. And the evidence concerning the two men's intent, whether they knowingly possessed and willfully retained such documents, is also starkly different. The special counsel adds that Team Trump's claim that President Biden, quote, secretly directed the indictment of Donald Trump, that the special counsel is a, quote, puppet, is nothing more than an attempt to put the ex-president's warped Earth 2 conspiracies to paper. Quote, the sources on which they rely, even if taken at face value, undercut rather than support this conspiracy theory, as they repeatedly emphasize that the prosecutorial decisions made by the Department of Justice generally, and the special counsel specifically, have been made on the basis of the facts and the law, not political considerations. The defendants offer no evidence to the contrary, because there is no such evidence. Special counsel Jack Smith taking it upon himself to separate fact from fiction in the classified documents case is where we begin today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. National investigative reporter for the Washington Post, Carol Leonnig, is here with us. With me at the table, NYU law professor and former clerk to Judge Sonia Sotomayor, Melissa Murray, is here, and former top prosecutor of the Department of Justice, Andrew Weissman, is back with us. They are the co-authors of a new book, The Trump Indictments. It's big, it's long, it's heavy, the historic charging documents with commentary. Carol, let me start with you. It's so nice to see you, my friend. I want to dive into the substance of what's in here because it's juicy, but I want to start with the what of it. The what of it tells me that Jack Smith and his team are so acutely aware of the environment in which they are trying to hold Trump accountable for his crimes.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. I can't believe how good and rested you look. I'm going to put aside my jealousy.
That is the magic of the makeup room.
I'm going to put aside my jealousy about that for a minute and go right to the substance. Of course, you asked the laser right question. Think about, and I know you have, Nicole, how differently Jack Smith has stared down, and this is no offense to who I'm about to reference, but how directly he has spoken to the public, not in a namby-pamby way, but spoken to the court and the public about the falsity, the profanity, the brazen fallacies embedded in what Donald Trump is trying to say about the weaponization of the Department of Justice against him. And contrast that with how Robert Mueller addressed this issue. Jack Smith is taking this on the horns and deciding that it's appropriate for him to speak in court filings, but also it's appropriate for him to explain that this is a bunch of malarkey. I mean, I also found one of the most dramatic sort of passages here was when Smith said, there is no comparable person who engaged in, quote unquote, this complete suite of willful and deceitful actions to withhold classified information. The defendants cannot find somebody comparable who's not been prosecuted. They can't do it because there is no such person that exists. I'm, of course, paraphrasing at the end. remember the context of Jack Smith's probe. It of course begins in November of 2022 when he is named special counsel, but he inherits the work of a team that for months has given former President Trump the most amazing pass. Please just give us the documents back. We see that you have some of the most sensitive documents that we've ever printed, special access programs that were so serious, people who are national security prosecutors and agents and investigators were not read into the programs and not able to read the documents that we found. That's how serious this material was. But please just give everything back. And they wait and they beg and they plead. And then finally, after a subpoena and all tiny pittance of records are returned, they learn actually through the surveillance tape that a bunch of boxes have been moved and all of the things that you perfectly described before, all of these efforts at obstruction directed by Donald Trump himself to withhold these documents was at play.
Carol, I mean, it's so interesting you pulled that out because